Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome to the podcast. I'm starting to feel normal. It's just starting to feel like a normal thing. You guys don't know this, but last week just had a big cough and it just didn't feel well. Uh, and the thing about being a comedian is, and you don't know that. Well, you do know this, but you haven't lived it in a minute. Traveling as much as I do, so my schedule is I drive or fly. Usually drive from Los Angeles to Vegas on Tuesday evening ish. Smoke some cigars, do a show, do 10 to about 11:30. From 11:30 to 12, we do autographs, pictures. From 12 to 2, we do karaoke. And then on Wednesday after karaoke 2, I either drive home, be there for a day, or fly out for a gig that I'm going to do on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, or Friday, Saturday, or Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Something like that. So it's just very constant. So when I feel a little bit, I tend to just want to crash and sleep. So for the past week, I've pretty much been asleep or on stage. But something crazy, cool, interesting, weird happened last week. And I definitely want to talk about it because I was very surprised by what occurred. So anyway, I was performing at the Mohegan Sun. And on Thursday on the way there, I get a phone call from a buddy of mine asking me what I'm doing on Friday. Long story short, it's a gig to fly down for one night to do a gig in Miami for a friend of his. I could make it work, so I did. But here's the interesting part. The interesting part, it was Quincenera, which is, for you people that don't know, it's Sweet 16?
-1.
Right, so it's a it's basically a Sweet 16. And for you people that don't know what Sweet 16s and quinceañeras are from back in the day, well, back in the day when it was okay to bang chicks when they were 13 and 14 and 15, and not just bang, but marry them and the whole thing.
Yeah.
These were, so 16 years old. See, this is one of those traditions that should change. Right? As I'm thinking about it, like, why the fuck do we still do this? Do you know what I'm saying? What you know what a Sweet 16 a quinceañera is, right? It's basically
the entrance into womanhood.
Correct. So at this point, you're acknowledging as a parent, my daughter's a woman, like full-fledged, and we take it to a whole nother level. When I say we Catholics, because it's a quinceañera, it's literally an entrance into womanhood and the acceptance of God. Like in the eyes of God in the church, you are a woman.
Because also in the Jewish community, they have the bar mitzvah and the bat mitzvah. So it's
Correct.
the boys and the girls.
Correct.
And I don't know at what age. Do you know
What,
this?
13-ish?
Is that what it is?
But I don't know if it's an entrance into womanhood or manhood.
I thought it was.
I don't know exactly what that one is. I mean, I know what they are, but I don't know. But they do it for men too, which is very different.
Yeah, because that's the bar and the bat. One's the male and the female.
Correct.
Yeah.
We just do chicks.
Yeah.
So it's just a bunch of creepy old dudes going, when can I fuck her? Wait for it. When can I wait for it? She's 15. Ah! Like, that's it. I used to do a joke about it. I mean, my whole thing was, I think the punchline was, how can you get mad at your daughter for getting pregnant at 16 when a year before you took her to church so that God could say pussy open for business? Like, that was the whole bit. And then it came like, if it's wet, if it's dry, they wet it. You know what I mean?
Shit.
Yeah, they smoke it so you can eat it like salmon. You know what I'm saying? Like the whole thing, right? The whole thing. But why do you think, just off on a tangent, because I want to get back to something else, but on this subject, why do you think people are so hesitant to kind of go, okay, this was from hundreds and maybe thousands of years ago, and back then, by the time you were 15, it was like, woof, nobody wants you, babe. Woof, your better days are over. Like, could you imagine? Could you imagine telling your daughter?
They're all old and leathery at 15.
Right? Oh God, you're 15. We better let everybody know you're open for business. Why do you think we don't change that? Like, I wouldn't do it. Like, I don't have boys, right? And if I did have girls, I don't have girls. I only have boys. If I did have girls, I would say to my daughter, like, I don't mind having that celebration. I just mind having it at 15.
I don't think it's as common. Like the example I have is me personally. I have 4 younger sisters. They're all adults. Not a single one of them had a quinceanera.
Okay.
And I actually...
Not one of them wanted one? Did any of them ask?
I don't remember it ever being a thing, so I don't know if my mom and dad just didn't agree with the whole
you guys
15...
Catholics?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Wow.
And not one of my sisters had one. And
Right.
I've never asked my mom and dad, like, was there a reasoning behind it? Or maybe has a similar idea as you did. Like, this whole idea of 15 and open for business. Nope, I'm not down with that idea.
Right.
Maybe that was... I got to ask my dad about that.
It's one of those things. It's one of those things is that when you come from other countries, especially as immigrants with other cultures, other backgrounds, other stuff, you know what I mean? That's how America ended up celebrating, so much of this stuff that's not even ours. Like Cinco de Mayo, it's not even a big holiday in Mexico.
Oh, no.
Because it's just the Battle of Puebla where a bunch of Native Americans beat the French. They had rocks and
and
stuff.
It was the French.
Yeah.
Nobody cares.
But it was the French.
Yeah,
Come on.
yeah.
Like, and nobody tells you that it was like 100 to 10,000. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, they just go, man, the natives had rocks. But how many were there, fucker? Let's do the math on that one. Plus, this wasn't the time where they could just go, how many? Fine. They couldn't just be like, hey, all you want, stand still, get the bullets, let's go. Okay, let's go home. Right? This was, okay, are you ready? Oh, shit. Oh, fuck, the rocks. Oh, son of a bitch.
The rocks are done stuff.
Yeah, oh, fuck, they can... Right? Yeah, so a lot of that stuff comes in, but it's interesting how... So I guess it is changing. I guess you answer my question. Not all of us do it anymore.
Yeah.
Just some of us.
And being Mexican and growing up with other Mexican men that have daughters, I don't recall them having a quinceañera. Like I think it's there is a certain part of the more, I don't want to say evolved, but the more current population, I guess, that are just doing away with the concept. Like, one, it's very expensive. It's,
yes.
To save for a father to get a loan to fund a birthday party, I think is absolutely ridiculous.
It's not even yeah, pretty much. Yeah, you're right. It's a birthday party. Yeah, and yeah, it's a mini wedding.
Yeah.
I mean, if you want to look at it that way, right? It's a mini wedding.
It's a wedding where your uncle or favorite cousin, that's a guy, walks you down the aisle to present you to
everyone.
The rented hall.
Right, to the world, to everybody. Yeah, you're right. So anyway, you know what? That's an interesting subject, but I do want to get off that. So next, you know what? In a couple, we gotta go back to like things that we bring from other cultures to this country that inevitably just get phased out.
Yeah.
Right. Inevitably, it's just it either sticks, like St. Patty's Day stuck.
Yeah.
Or it just goes away like whatever. I wouldn't know. Like I'm sure.
I think nobody fights to get rid of it. Like nobody fights to get rid of St. Patrick's Day. Why? Because it's considered a drinking holiday.
Sure.
Cinco de Mayo.
Sure.
That's really a white people holiday. All
Sure.
Mexicans see that as a white people holiday.
But it's stuck. Right. Quinceañeras didn't stick.
Yeah.
Sweet 16s didn't stick. Right. So there's other stuff that didn't stick. But anyway, so get back to my original point.
You were in Miami.
They offered me some money. Because it was last minute and they needed somebody, and when I got there, I said, I want to thank you guys, for thinking of me, but I'm not the first guy you think of in this situation.
Yeah.
First of all, I'm not the first guy you think of when you say I want somebody to work clean. I have no problem getting rid of profanity, by the way. That's not the problem for Carlos. It is easy for me to get rid of the profanity. The hard part is the edginess of my act. That's the hard part to get rid of.
Yeah.
The fact, like, here's an example. I do a joke, or used to do. It's a part of anything that I've ever done that isn't in a special, I could still do on stage. This is one of those bits, right, that I love. I love the bit.
Okay.
I love the bit about quinceañeras because I love the look on people's faces. Not a lot. But when I tell that joke in our communities or in places where there's people of Mexican descent, it's so beautiful to see the look on the women's face when they realize, oh shit, this isn't just some religious thing. This is literally us telling the world my daughter's ready to fuck at the age of 15.
Yeah.
Whoa! The look on their faces it just drives me, right? It just drives me. But so they told me some of the comedians that they offered pretty decent money to. I'm not going to say what comedians,
Okay.
but it was, between $10,000 and $20,000 for a one night for 45 minutes of clean material.
Got it.
And they all said no. And I literally had a moment where I'm in my room in the hotel, at the EB hotel, ready to walk downstairs. And I thought to myself, holy shit. Taking myself out of it, kind of looking at myself from the outside in. Carlos Mencia, of these guys that they called, who a lot of them work clean. Like they're not even dirty. They work clean. I know these guys. Some of them have opened for me. No. Every single one of them at one point has opened for me. Every single one. And they're clean. They're not dirty. And they're not edgy. And I thought to myself, what the fuck is going on that I ended up getting that phone call? I should never have gotten that phone call. That phone call should have been picked up by 2 to 4 other comedians who would have said, yeah, sure, I can work clean for 45 minutes. Not a problem. That never should have got to Carlos Mencia.
Yeah.
To that guy. To the way he performs. To the way that guy exercises his craft. Unless it was a family member, a straight up family member.
Yeah.
Who was like, mijo, you have to do this for us. Of course, Theo. Whatever you need. Outside of that, I should never got that phone call. And I thought to myself, excuse me, I thought to myself, something has changed in comedy. Something has changed in comedy that these guys were not prepared for this moment. That these guys were not prepared to do this. That they were afraid to do it, that they wouldn't do it. And then I started thinking to myself, why am I thinking this way? And it's because when we came up, it was different. It was different. It was get ready for all the possibilities, right? It was get ready for this and ready for that. And now it's changed. And I guess my question is, and what I want to talk about is the state of comedy today, from our perspective, right? The way we look at it. And you're a great, great person to talk to this about because of your Dirty at 12:30 show. And because you fucking hate being told to not use profanity. Even if it's not a part of the actual joke.
Yeah.
Like you can use other words or synonyms if you want. You just choose to be free with the way you think about your mind. But the fact that these young comedians, and they were all pretty young comedians, didn't want to take on that challenge, didn't want to make that money, didn't want to put themselves in that position, and I did, made me go, what the fuck is happening in comedy today? And so I guess we got to start with the way I was brought up. And then you can compare. I was brought up in comedy believing that you have to pay your dues. That's number one. You can't just come in and get stuff. You have to pay your dues. You have to
Put your time in.
put your time in. You have to go to the shitty bars. You have to make, dude, when I was a young comedian, I would drive down on, I think it was Sunday or Tuesday. God, I don't even remember. But at the Comedy Store in La Jolla, I used to drive down and had no money for gas to come back. As a matter of fact, at the time, bro, my brother and sister got together and they purchased me a Camaro. They forgot to tell me, bro, that it had an exhaust leak. And you had to drive with the windows open. So me and Albert are driving down to San Diego. I don't have enough money for gas to get back. So I'm going to go on stage, perform, and tell the audience at the end, if you thought I was funny, could you give me a couple bucks? Because I need gas money. Okay?
Wow.
Like, that was the plan. And on the way there, dude, when we got, so you remember what it is, we're driving down the 5. We went past San Clemente, and let me think. When you go past San Clemente, right before you get into Camarillo, there's a lookout. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Where you can pull in and park and look into the ocean, and there used to be a phone there. Because this was before cell phones.
Yeah.
So we pull in there, and I call my brother because it was raining, right? It's raining, and I put the windows up, and it was these windows, bro.
Yeah.
That's how old the fucking car was, a 1978 Camaro, and me and Bert, dude, we start getting sleepy. So we're like, dude, what the fuck, bro? Like, I don't know, man. Something's going on. So I pull in and I call my brother. I go, bro, there's something wrong with the car, dude. I think they're like, I'm getting sleepy and I'm driving. And he's like, do you roll the windows up? I go, yeah, the windows are up because it's raining. No, you're gonna die. I'm like, wait, what? And I'm so loopy. I'm like, I'm gonna what? He's like, you're gonna die. It has an exhaust. The smoke from the bottom. There's a crack in the muffler before the muffler, and I was going to fix it, but I didn't have time. And I'm like, so we're fucking literally dying from carbon monoxide poisoning, dude, on the way down. But I never asked my money for. I didn't ask my mom and dad for money for this.
Yeah.
I didn't. I not because I was embarrassed or ashamed, but because I'm like, no, this is what it is. This is what it is to pay your dues. It's supposed to be hard, right? You're supposed to feel it, and I did. And another thing that I was told, you need to have your 5-minute set. Well, not one, but two. You have to have 2 5-minute sets for either Evening at the Improv or one of the big ones, the Tonight Show, the Late Show, like one of those.
Yeah.
You had to have 2, because if you go and you kill, they're gonna ask you back within a few months.
Yeah, and you need another 5.
And it's what you say keeps resonating in my mind. Just so you know, you're in my head now. Be nice
and be ready.
Right? I wish I'd known you. I was ready.
Yeah.
Oh, I was fucking ready back in the day, bro.
Yeah.
That was not nice.
Yeah.
I didn't know that you had to be in that respect. Anyway, we talked about that before. So I was told you got to pay your dues. Totally cool. I was told, you need to be ready for that clean set, and for a phone call from Pepsi, right, or whatever to do that. These young kids, and I know they need the money. I know a couple of the guys, they need it. They literally were afraid to do it. They were afraid they might offend. They were afraid they couldn't use profanity.
They couldn't do it. They just couldn't do it.
Right. And then I started thinking about the state of comedy, because somebody came up to us and said something to the effect of, hey, have you guys ever been on or thought of or whatever doing, what was the name of the show? The really popular one where you do a minute, Kill Tony.
Oh, yeah.
So they brought up Kill Tony.
Mm-hmm.
And basically the way that, I don't know if you remember, but it was a dude that brought it up, and the way he brought it up was like, this is my standard for what comedy is.
Yes.
Or have you guys ever done that?
Yeah.
Have you guys ever reached that level of?
Yeah.
And I thought to myself, oh shit, that's not anything I would have ever thought of or would have come at me in that respect. I never would have thought that that's the standard. And then I'm looking at my feed and I'm seeing all these comedians, including me, by the way, and when I say including me, I want you to understand that yes, I put out stuff where I interact with the audience. Here's the thing. I tried to get away from that. I tried to actually write a joke, 1-minute joke, every week, put it in the show so that I can, put it out there.
Yeah.
Guess what? The algorithms don't like that. The internet doesn't want real material. Yeah. The internet wants to see you fuck with people. And they want to see you record them so that there's a conversation. Now, we're going to talk about where that can lead and where I think it's not a good thing. But all of these things together made me go, holy shit, where's the state of comedy from our perspective, from the way we're putting it out there? You know what I mean? How do you see all of this kind of coming together and creating this new world of comedy?
I'm afraid of the new comics that are coming up, because all they're trying, in the 80s, if you had 15 minutes and the right people saw you, you get a TV deal. And in the 90s...
Yeah, but yes, that's true. But let's give it context.
Yeah, but I'm pushing forward to
No,
today.
no. So remember where you are. But I want to give it context because the way you say it makes people that are younger think that it was easy or some shit.
No, not at all.
That it was, you know
But
what I
it was
mean?
just, like, at the time, there was no YouTube or anything like that. So TV executives,
Right.
NBC, CBS, ABC, the big three were going
Right.
to comedy clubs.
Correct. But by the time Roseanne Barr ended up on The Tonight Show, she was a headliner who knew comedy.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
She wasn't a comedian that had 5 minutes or 20 minutes. When who else did that happen to? Well, a lot of comics who got to that place.
Yeah.
When they hit it, when they killed, it wasn't because they were good for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
These guys had paid their dues. They'd been doing. Tim Allen had been doing stand-up for a long time. He had already, by the time he ended up at The Tonight Show, he already had the.
Yeah.
He already had that.
But think between the 80s and 90s. Let's talk about that 20 years, that
Okay.
20-year gap.
70s through 90s.
So
1970 to 1990.
Okay, so now 30 years. So 80 to 90. Okay. So throughout the 80s
Right.
and into the 90s, if you can think back to, before any streaming services and cable wasn't prevalent.
I was part of it.
And so the people that got TV shows all started with a stand-up comic. I don't
Yes.
remember we spoke about this, but like a Tim Allen,
Yes.
Bill Cosby,
Yes.
Ray Romano,
Right.
Brad Garrett's in the bunch, and there's so many people where everything.
Well, Ray Romano got a TV show literally so he got The Tonight Show, killed it. Then he got a special right away, and then from that special, they created that show about his family because that's what he talked about.
Yeah.
So
And-
his act literally led to his TV show.
Yeah. Eddie Murphy talking about his family got him into movies. Like, he just bypassed TV. Like, he got Saturday Night Live, and I understand he did Saturday Night Live,
Right.
but he was doing Saturday Night Live at like 19.
Right.
He's like the youngest cast member that they ever had. He was
Right.
that advanced. So his TV stint in Saturday Night Live prepared him for movies.
Right.
Again, a stand-up. So all these stand-ups, because these execs, these TV stations all recognize it was easier to teach a comic to act than to teach an actor to be funny.
Okay. Plus, with people like Tim Allen, he wrote the skeleton
Of
what would become
Home Improvement was all, and it's awesome when you see based on the stand-up comedy
Correct.
of Ray Romano, based on the
Correct.
stand-up comedy of Tim Allen.
Correct.
Like, there's a basis
Correct.
for this show.
Correct. And so one of the things that we were taught as comedians, and I don't know if you were taught, I know I was taught, is to have an act, and especially in the beginning, right, before you have specials, when you're trying to create your first special. I was told your first special should be a special that if somebody watched it, who was a producer, if Chuck Lorre watched your half-hour special, he would go, I know what
I can do something with this.
this TV show would be, right? Got it. I know. We all were told that.
Yeah.
So not only were we trying to be funny, not only were we trying to be clean in these sets, but we also wanted them to know who we were within the context of the special.
Yeah.
So that if we ever did, so if somebody, whatever that producer is, they would go, oh, I see it. This guy would work in this place, surrounded by this place, and this is how we're going to maximize his voice,
Yeah.
right? This is how we did it. That is not being taught today.
No.
Pay your dues is not being taught today, or at least not being. I don't know if it's being taught or maybe kids are being told, but they don't follow it.
And then, like, the people that historically work clean, like a Seinfeld or a Kevin James. Those are the two that pop into my head right now. Where somebody saw, well, Seinfeld was into selling his own show, but Kevin James, somebody saw, okay, this blue collar style, very squeaky clean.
Right.
I could see him. He has a blue collar vibe to him, and let's make him a UPS driver.
Right.
And somehow he had and it was great writing and a phenomenal cast around him.
Yeah.
And then the show lasted for years.
Yeah.
And that's the basis for the stand-up that gets that.
Correct.
Now there's so many things available to us right now where cable's on last place. The big three are in last place. Now it's streaming. Can you make it on Paramount Plus or Disney Plus or all the other streamings that are
Right.
available from Netflix and all? there's so many of them. Like they keep popping up.
But the biggest one, believe it or not, is YouTube.
Yeah.
Right? The biggest one is YouTube.
The biggest trend for comics is to just put it out there for free.
Yeah. But here's the problem with YouTube. YouTube has become worse at censoring than the networks ever were. Because the beauty of networks is, and I had a TV show, so I know how it works. They come and they watch. First of all, they read all the scripts. Every rewrite gets sent to them. Every time you rewrite one line.
To YouTube?
No, the producers of the show. So I was on Comedy Central. On that, let's just speak of Comedy Central, not HBO or any of the other stuff I've done. Comedy Central specifically, they would know and they would call us and go, okay, the person from Standards and Practices says you can't say that. You got to find a different way to say that. So that's how I came up with Panuch, because we were trying to find a way to say vagina, right?
Without saying vagina.
All the chocha, panocha. Somebody that speaks Spanish would be like, well, that's pussy in Spanish. So then I was like, okay, so I'm not going to say panocha or panuch, so I'll say panuch. That's not a real word. And within the context of what I was saying, you knew what I was talking about. Yeah. So I was eating her panuch. Yeah. Even if you don't know, you know what I'm talking about. So the thing about what's happening right now is what they do is, like, let's say that I did the joke about how I was sexually abused as a kid. Let's say that I did that joke the way I do it on stage. It would go on YouTube, and because of the context of it, it would suppress the algorithm. It'll leave it there. It's not gonna get rid of it, right? YouTube's not gonna say, by the way, bro, you can't do jokes about being sexually abused as a kid. That's not what they're gonna do. All of a sudden, you're just gonna see that there's no growth in that bit. It's not that it's not being shared. Yeah. It's just not being proliferated within the context, because unlike regular television, they kind of already know who's going to buy advertising. So they'll say, look, Coke doesn't want you to say that, or McDonald's doesn't appreciate you saying that. At least that's it. The problem with YouTube, bro, you don't know. You don't know who's going to advertise for you. Yeah. You don't know what shit's going to pop up in the middle of your video. You have no idea whether it's going to be a political ad, whether it's going to be nothing. And so they're the worst, because they're trying to make every single video for everybody. And so any words like the N-word or the F-word or any of that stuff ends up in there, even if it's in context. Even if it's, I hate when people say blank. Yeah. Even that gets flagged because the algorithm isn't going, no, this is in context. It's not like that. So I couldn't, if I did a special doing the joke about how I was liberated, how I went to an LGBTQ show, go to a black show, go to black Latino, I can't, that bit, as funny as it is, would be suppressed. Even though the bit is the opposite of why they're suppressing it. Right? They would suppress it because, ooh, that's offensive. No, the whole point of the bit is bringing all these people together, is the point of the bit. But the algorithm wouldn't catch that. And so it's fucking worse, believe it or not. Because I've had to deal with that, because we're doing a special and we're trying to figure out what material to use on how it would be proliferated. Yeah. Because that's where it's at right now. So it's even worse, is what I'm saying to you, than what it was, the YouTube thing. So anyway, you continue. I know I interrupted.
So getting past the 90s, now we're going into the 2000s. Now it's big social media stuff, and how can you promote yourself on social media? Because ultimately, from a stand-up comic, it's not even especially a starting comic, it's not about the special. It's about getting people to come out to see you, and hopefully buying a ticket to come see you, or hey, I'm opening for this bigger name, right, and will you come and see me? And And from it's advancing from the MySpace days to Facebook to the Instagram to Twitter to TikTok, and it's just the evolution of social media where we've had to adapt whether we like to or not.
Correct.
Now in the TikTok era, it's 45-second clips, and that's how these 15-year-olds are getting their stand-up, and that's how they learn about stand-up. So we got to get them in 45 seconds, and hopefully in 6 years when they turn 21, they can come to a show.
Yeah, but here's my problem with that. It's not indicative of what we do on stage.
I completely understand.
And that's the problem. Think about the way you worded it. But not even, it doesn't matter. Like what we're teaching people, especially in these little clips, is that it's okay to come to shows and be interactive. I mean, I guess that's just the easy way to work. And we've encountered this, bro. I don't know about your show in the Dirty, and that show is different. It's different because the majority of people that go to the Dirty have been there. They know what it is. They're a part of the culture of it. So I don't know that...
You can also tell that people's experience of stand-up is limited to maybe like a Kill Tony podcast or a Matt Rife, who two things that are where But a lot of people chime in on the Kill Tony thing, and then a lot of people.
Are you getting a lot of chime-ins at the Dirty?
I can tell their experience, and I can tell more with performing with you than on my shows.
Okay.
Where like the people that just and they shout out with absolute glee. By the way, they are happy to chime in,
yes,
expecting us to come in on something. And
right,
if I don't reply to it, because more often than not, if I'm doing a genuine set, not a 60-second clip, I ignore that. Let's move on, because if there's 300 people there, one person spouts off, I'm not just going to stop for the one person. Let's keep going. Hopefully the crowd or the people next to him or that date will be like, shut the fuck up.
Right.
And you can just move on. Hopefully they figure out fast that it's not that kind of show.
Right.
We work our asses off to put this material and to make it shine and thrive and for everybody to collectively be on the same page.
Right.
Not to hit the pause button.
Right.
And chances are, if you hit pause in the middle of the joke is fucked. And
right,
now you have to acknowledge what the fuck did you say?
Right.
What do you want? What kind of attention do you need?
Right. But you can't get mad at them now.
And that's not like
that's a big problem. We used to in the 90s.
Yeah.
Right, in the 90s, dude, I eviscerated people. Yeah. I mean, dude, I made people cry.
Yeah.
Like I shit that I regret, bro. You know what I mean? But it was because you were supposed to shut up. Now, how do you tell people, hey, shut up during my set? When they could look at you and go, I'm here because somebody interrupted you in some show that you did here in Vegas. I know, because the background's exactly the same. And then you talk to them, and then they talk to you, and then you talk to them, and then it became really funny. So I'm just doing the same shit I saw. Why are you getting mad at me?
Yeah.
These are the things that I guess... And I want to delve into a little more. And your show, you don't get a lot of hecklers, right? You don't get a lot of stuff.
But I do. And I
try. You do?
I do. And I try to keep it since I'm
the Dirty.
Yeah, since I'm the host of my own show.
Wait. You're getting people, because your fans, they're pretty smart.
Yeah,
they're pretty comedy educated.
Yes. And
even that crowd.
And even then, they'll try to chime in. And the great thing is, the fans will try to shut them up, especially if they said something stupid, like, "Bro, don't do this to yourself." Like, they know I have no problem digging into somebody. I don't want to do it. I never like to alienate somebody. And the worst thing, if they won't shut up, I never want to get anybody kicked out. But I will if it's affecting the quality of the show and if it's affecting the rest of the people that are at the show. Like, I'll eliminate that virus and let's move on. I have had security remove people just because they just wouldn't shut up, and especially if they're trying to insult you. And then inexperienced comics will insult, if a guy spouts off and the comic will insult their date. Well, now the guy has to stand up for his girl. So there's no stepping down from that. Right. So there's no fix there.
Right. There's no de-escalation.
He has to be removed.
Right.
Because there's no way. He has to defend his woman. Like, yes. And I tell comics, like, look, if you're gonna fight back, make it between you two. Don't look at the people around him. Right. You just zoom in on that person. Right. It's not, because if you insult anybody else, especially their date, their spouse, their wife, their girlfriend, whoever, then they're not gonna sit down.
Right.
And you need to understand that.
Right.
And it just becomes a pissing contest. It's not even fun. It's just a stupid pissing contest.
Right.
So remove the virus if I have to. Otherwise, because I have told them, are you sure you want to do this? And that's the best, where the date's like pulling them down. The date.
Right.
It's like I want to do this. The crowd will get involved. I don't want to do this to you, buddy.
Right.
I want us to have a good time. Are you cool if you just sit down and we can move on with the show?
Right.
9 times out of 10, sorry, bro. And let's move on.
Right.
Most people don't want the attention.
Of course.
There are the drunk people that do, but most people don't want the attention.
Right.
And you just, experience allows you to handle it.
Right.
These new kids, it's just time. It's not that they're doing anything wrong. They just haven't handled it enough the way you and I have in all our years doing it. That if you're a heckler is just a challenge. And the potential for new material that you don't realize because it's away from your normal set that you have in your brain.
Right.
So there can be positives from it.
Right.
But sometimes they just love you and they just have that nervous energy.
Yeah, remember that one guy?
I just love you so much. I just love you so much. You don't want to get that guy kicked out. You have to understand. We have to be conscious of he's not talking shit.
Yes.
He has this excited energy that I can't believe I'm in the same room with you. And that's awesome too.
Right.
Like, hey, bro, I'd love to keep talking to you. Let's do me this favor. And I always tell them this. After the show, you and I will have a shot together. How's that sound? We'll take a picture. We'll have a shot together. Yeah. Seriously?
Yeah.
And
yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you still see the giddiness.
Yes.
These guys are in their 30s and just see this
happy.
giddiness and they're happy.
Yes.
And you don't want to.
No, you can't.
You don't want to take them away from that excitement.
It's like Tourette's. It's seriously in the sense that, okay, so an audience, for you people that don't know, an audience, once you put a bunch of people in a room together, their energies merge and they become an entity. They become a thing. They become one thinking unit. And when that happens, that person that he's talking about, it feels very Tourette's-y. Because it feels like the whole audience is like, we love you. And then the guy's like, you're the best.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then you're like, oh, I appreciate you too. And then everybody's like, oh, yeah, that's great. That's great. Ah, you're like taller than the fucking biggest building in the world. Okay, thank you. But you don't want to diminish that energy, is what you're saying.
You want them to continue
it's
to be
just
fans.
Weird. It's hard.
But we have to be smart enough to figure out what kind of person this is.
Right.
It's not just a negative person. It could be somebody that maybe watched a lot of Matt Rife, for example, and just wanted to throw something out there because
or watch one of us do something.
And saw us do something, and they want to be included in that because some people just want to be insulted. That's another thing I don't understand. They just want to be roasted.
Yeah,
they just want to be
Most people are going to end up with a ball gag, and you know what I'm saying?
Like shit like that. And there's stuff that most experienced comics have stuff in their back pocket because they go from city to city to city, and if it happens, like, all right, there's like so many comics have like, hey, I don't kick dicks out of your mouth at your job, that's all this low hanging fruit that so many comics have done.
What was the one back? I don't go to your job and smack the burgers out of your hand.
Yeah, shit like that.
That was the 80s, right? 70s and 80s,
and such basic stuff like that.
Right.
And it's just that low-hanging fruit that you just kind of share and move on, just to move on.
Okay, so we've got the way we grew up, right? Did you grow up any differently than I did in the comedy, from what we started? Remember the template of, have a clean set, do this. Was there anything different for you?
For me, when I started, it was very
Work
much
clean first, because you can always add a fuck. Don't ever write jokes that rely on fuck, because you cannot tell those jokes in certain circumstances.
When I started,
that's one of the things I heard.
In the 2000s, the key was having 22 solid clean minutes.
Okay.
Because that's what Comedy Central needed for you to get a half-hour special.
Okay. There you go.
8 minutes of commercials, you got a 22-minute special.
Okay.
So in the 2000s, that's what I came up with, to have the solid 22 clean. And you can build it up to 30, and if you get to 30, you can start doing stuff like cruise ships and stuff like that. And as I started realizing, at least me personally, that wasn't fun for me. I don't want to think about the words I'm not including in my set. Right. I don't say fuck for the sake of fuck. I don't say shit for the sake of shit. It's either an exclamation point or it deserves to be in that joke.
Right. There's a difference between those titties and those fucking titties.
Yeah. See, there's a big emphasis. There's no, so.
Especially if you're annoyed or angry.
Yeah. And I tell comics, don't let the word fucking be your comma. And then fucking I was like, and then he was fucking, then I liked it, and then I was like fucking. That's like, you're literally verbalizing your commas with a curse word that doesn't need to be there.
Right. But there's a time and a place. So we had a specific structure because we were beholden to some form of television that required us to do something very specific. Right? So now, other than me and the algorithms of YouTube, and I know this because I post stuff that's really clean, and then I post stuff that's not dirty, but definitely quote unquote edgy or ethnic or something, and I could see the difference immediately, like in the suppression of it, or it'll start blowing up, and then it'll kind of you'll see that, because I don't think that YouTube wants whatever ad to pop up in between me talking about, I was hanging out with my boys and my black friend said, "What up, N-word?" You know what I mean? Like that kind of stuff.
And today, the Church of Latter-day Saints would like to welcome you to...
Exactly. You don't know what they don't know. That's why I'm saying they're worse than because at least, for mine and Mencia, we had advertisers that were like, no, we want to advertise on Carlos' show. There are people that are like, hey, we want our product to be on that show. And this is, how much we're going to pay you. And so they knew what they were getting into. This is completely different. So we had, we had a certain template. I'm not in communication with young comedians in the way. I am in communication with Tino, and Kaylin, who are young comedians, but it's different because they're young comedians working with me.
Yeah.
So, they get to perform every weekend. They get to do sold out shows. They get to do great shows. They get to do, and I get to teach them this stuff, and I get to kind of, help them grow. But within the structure of young comedians that you have access to, that you talk to, that you definitely see, what is their template today? Like, what would you tell, or what are they telling? Not what would you tell. What are they hearing?
Yeah,
because they're different than we are.
It's like I don't know what they're hearing, but I can tell you my opinion on the younger comics today, and they're just.
And by the way, tell everybody that the show that you do here in Vegas. Well, the 2 shows that you do, the 3 shows that you do, outside of me.
Yeah.
Right. The Foundation Room.
Yeah.
And then the new, and then the
Dirty at 12:30.
So those shows, you talk to these comedians. Not just that, but you've actually mentored a comedian that was like, I want to be on your show. And you're like, you're not ready. But if you do this, and then they came back 6 months later, I think I'm ready. And you're like, I'm not sure. And then a year later, you're like, no, now you're ready. And then they went on and they killed you. You're like, oh shit, I'm going to give you, so you've seen this before.
Yes.
So I just want everybody to know that your opinion is coming from
genuine experience.
A genuine experience, not just,
yes,
hey, this is what I think about these fucking kids today.
No.
This isn't a fucking kids today thing. This is literally, they call him, and he's actually witnessed what he's about to talk about. Anyway,
the younger comics today, when I say younger comics, 0 to 5 years in.
Mm-hmm. It doesn't matter how old they are.
Yeah, just
we're
0
just
to
talking
5
about
years
their comedy
career.
They're babies as comedians.
They are babies as comedians, and how fucking entitled so many of them feel. Like I should already know about them, or I should have already seen their stuff, or I should already been to their shows.
Well, I was a product of that.
And I don't know who you are.
Yeah.
Oh man, I can't believe you never heard of me. I'm so and so from Atlanta, or I'm so and so from, and then they'll give me this god awful resume of stuff that they've done. And I'm like, I know nothing about you, and my lineup is full. If it wasn't full, I'd squeeze you in, but my lineup is pretty stacked tonight. Oh, I see how it is. Oh, I can't believe how often is it because I'm not one of your boys, or because I'm not one of your regulars? Is that how now they're fighting me when I'm just telling, hey, I just don't have a spot for you tonight. I don't close the door on anybody. It's very important. They think I close the door on it. I've never closed the door on a comic.
Tonight isn't forever.
It's just, yes. Right. It's just, I don't have a spot for you tonight.
Correct.
Oh, you made a big fucking mistake by telling me that right now. Who the fuck are you?
By the way, it doesn't matter who it is.
It doesn't.
It's not personal.
Yeah.
Don't have a spot for you tonight.
Yeah.
I don't know what to say.
Yeah. And if they've really annoyed me, and I can count it on one hand over all the years I've been producing shows, where they've just been such a thorn in my side because they were so entitled and felt so deserved that there's like you don't know what I can do to you. I'm like, all right, well, I, Gabe Lopez, I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do for you. If you shut the fuck up right now and I never see you again, this conversation ends. If I hear you run your fucking mouth, or if I hear that you're talking shit about me behind my back, now I'm starting to make phone calls to my friends that book other shows. Because I tell you, be nice and be ready. And right now, you're fucking up both opportunities.
Right.
And the last thing I want to do is waste my time with calling my friends that produce other popular shows like, hey, this guy's on the list.
Right. You don't want to do that. But I personally, right, part of what the backlash was for me, right, that was honest, by the way, because the fucking joke stealing thing is just a stupid bullshit, but whatever. But the running the light, that was different. I was part of the last generation of comedians that was okay with it. As a matter of fact, bro, to be honest with you, we talked about this before. I loved when a big comedian would come into the Comedy Store. I fucking just loved it, bro. Are you kidding me, dude? How good are you? I don't know. I'm going to find out. How? Because I'm about to follow Robin Williams. Get the fuck out of here. Yeah, bro. I'm about to find out how good I really am compared to maybe the best while he was alive.
Yeah.
To some people, the best that ever was. Fuck yeah, I want to go on after him. And the interesting thing was, when I got bumped, I just thought that was par for the course. It just kept building up inside of me. That was the problem. That every time it happened to me, I was like, okay, that's one more time I get to do it to somebody else. One more time. And I performed every night at the Comedy Store.
Yeah.
So from 94 all the way to about 2004, about 10 years, that was me. That was me, accruing all those points, getting them in. Oh, I got bumped again? Okay. So by the time 2004, my Mencia comes around, I look at my list and I go, oh, shit. I get to go on stage and bump anybody, no matter what, where, because I paid my dues. Nope. All of those comedians were the ilk of you. They didn't have my attitude. They didn't have my, no, this is what you're supposed to do. They were, but I'm on the list. He's not on the list. Well, why isn't he on the list? And so then I called Mitzi and I was like, Mitzi, I'm getting a lot of shit by not being on the list. And she goes, but if I put you on the list, you better show up. And I go, well, I don't know if I'm going to show up. I'm like, this is my weekend. I'm going to go to dinner and, hopefully I can convince my wife to let me stop by the comedy club and do a set before we go home or something. But if I have a drink or two or whatever and I can't make it, I'm not, you know what I mean? This is not a priority for me to come to the Comedy Store. I just love stand-up. Well, and just pop in. Yeah, but when I pop in, they go, oh, God damn it, pop in. You know what I'm saying? Like, she didn't give a shit. But I feel like I'm the last of those. Everyone else under me, especially within that period of time of the 2005, 2004-ish, they were all just like, nope, that's my spot. Nope, I should be on. Nope, why doesn't he go on after? Nope, I don't understand. Nope, I paid my dues. And so they didn't have that attitude. And I think it started to happen when we started having less kids. Because you and I we talked about this. I shared so much that I understood that was the way it was. When you're an only child or you only have another sibling, it's pretty much, where do you guys want to eat? What do you guys want to do? Where do you guys want to go?
Yeah.
It's all about the kids. I mean, for Christ's sakes, there was a period of time where people, they were called, moms with vans, and because we literally bought, my father had 18 fucking kids. If anybody should have had a van, it should have been my dad. But when my dad came to this country, bro, he had a dream at one point to own a fucking Gran Torino. So when we would go places as a family and there were too many, bro, I swear to God, there were a couple times where I ended up in the trunk, me and my other brother, on the way to the beach to go. And I'll never forget one of the times because we got on the freeway on the 10 and we were going on a pretty sunny day and there was a lot of traffic once we got to Santa Monica. So once we got to like Franklin and that exit, it all slowed down. And I remember that me and my brother were in the back going, Dad, we're getting sleepy. And my dad was like, hey, we're almost there, just go to sleep. And looking back, I'm like, we were dying, you fucking asshole. We were in the back, literally.
Fast forward when you're driving to La Jolla.
Right, fast forward. I know this feeling. I know this feeling. This feeling is of death, for Christ's sakes. So it changed. I felt the change. And I didn't see the change. I was so blinded by moving forward that I couldn't just stop and go, wait, shit, I need to reassess this, you know? Because I feel like, when people ask me what it felt like, this is what it felt like. It felt like whatever people felt like about 10, 20 years ago when, for bands and for university, I mean, for the Greek systems, when bands and Greek systems, bands in the South, right, and the marching bands, you've heard about how bad they used to haze. The marching bands.
Yes.
Like the black, badass, unbelievable marching, the ones that were like, were the tuba guys throwing flips.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that shit. You'd heard about
I've heard the stories, yes.
Well, I feel like I had a plunger in my asshole that they made me drink chili straight from the bottle, that I had diarrhea for 4 days. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. All this stuff they did to me. They fucking put, duct tape on my chest hairs and pull it out. I got hazed. I feel like when it came time for Carlos Mencia to haze others, this is why you go online and people are like, you were a fucking bully. You got to put it in the context, man. It wasn't that I was a bully.
Yeah.
It said I was doing to others what was done to me because this was the doctrine of indoctrination.
Yeah.
This is what you were supposed to do. You're supposed to pay your dues. You were supposed to get all that stuff. So fuck yeah, I had a plunger and I was ready. I was ready.
Yeah.
But this was a different time and different people, and they were like, no, dude, we don't do that anymore. That's not how it works anymore. You don't haze anymore. You can't be bully. That's not the way it works. There's no fuck with the rookie anymore. It's we're all the same. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I get that I didn't see it and I suffered for it. And a lot of those people had a lot of resentments, that age group. So that's a few things. What else do you see that's like, what is this whole I can't work clean shit? What is that? I mean, for Christ's sakes, when Carlos Mencia is the one saying, okay, I'll do a clean set for 45 minutes.
Yeah.
For kids that are 15 and their parents, when I say yes to that,
yeah,
and I killed, and I got a standing O, and everybody was happy, the fuck is wrong with these kids who are not even, they're not even edgy like me this way?
Also, to add to the young comics, they're just trying to do clips. They're trying to do acting clips. Not even stand-up clips, acting clips. And just, it's this obsession with becoming viral on a clip from, whether it's on Instagram or TikTok or whatever. I finally got a clip that got 1 million views. Okay, how has your life changed? I'm sure it hasn't. But you got 1 million views, great. Are you going to sell out in Tulsa this weekend?
Maybe. Are
you going to sell out in Miami? Is 1 million views enough to sell out a club anywhere in the country?
Yes, if all those people would come to see you perform. You know what I mean? That's not going to happen, by the way.
Yeah.
But if you had 1 million people that loved you around the country, you could sell out every comedy club in America.
But 1 million people.
Right.
I'm talking about 1 million views on a clip.
No, because it's not 1 million people.
Yeah.
It's not. You don't know who it is. You don't know where they're from. That shit might be in fucking Timbuktu.
And if you're talking about 1 million people around the United States, and just say the 48, not Hawaii, not Alaska,
right,
just the 48,
yeah,
and you got 1 million views on a clip,
mm-hmm,
that's this many people in the grand scheme of things.
That's point
and,
zero.
From what city? Now, if you got 1 million people,
0.03 something percent.
if you got 1 million people to see it in that city where you're going to be performing, that's a drastic
Completely
difference.
Right.
But I'm doing Miami, and then I'm doing Seattle. So I'm doing the two corners. Will I sell out both because I have 1 million views on a clip? These little fucktards think they are.
Is comedy straying away from, like, when I was a young comedian, a really big thing, and this is because it was at the Comedy Store with Mencia, a really big thing was, you know, what are you driving on stage? What's your vehicle?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was, that guy does puppets. That guy is a Chicano. Not a Mexican, not an American, specifically a Chicano. You know what I mean? Everybody had their thing. That guy's black, but he's not black because he's from Africa. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Everybody had their thing. I think that part of comedy kind of was here and it kind of went, right?
Yeah.
Of being those groups. Now it's almost like, be an individual, be yourself, you know, whatever you are. You can, those archetypes aren't solid anymore, you know? Like, it's interesting that you and I have done so many shows where I do like a little bit of interaction with the African Americans in the crowd. And it's interesting that in Vegas anyway, after about a year of shows, a little more over year
Yeah,
shows,
we
more
broke a
over
year.
year shows here, it's interesting that we rarely get the "sup man," right?
Yeah.
We normally don't get that.
Correct.
We normally get just a different, because that's not the archetype anymore. So, you know, 20 years ago, yeah, that's what it was. Now it's not. So things are changing, and that's some stuff that I feel like, okay, my eyes are open now. So now I'm like, okay, I have to adjust to this pattern. But, you know, what do I do if I'm doing an impression of a black person? I can't just homogenize it to the point where the Asian guy was like, "What's up, Carlos?" And my black friend was like, "What's up, Carlos?" And my Mexican friend was like, "What's up, Carlos?"
Yeah.
Well, they all sound the fucking same.
Yeah.
That's not good for comedy.
Yeah.
So now I got to spice it, right? My Asian friend was like, "Motherfucker, what's up?" You know, my friend was my back. Just to give it a flavor. Not necessarily that's how exactly it is anymore, right? There's a couple nights ago, or no, last week, there was an Asian lady where I was like, look, you know what? Let's just get to the point. Where does your face come from? And she laughed, and the audience went, "Oh!" And I was like, dude.
She understood the question.
She laughed because I go, watch this, guys. Be honest with me. If I had asked you, where are you from, what would you have said? And she goes, Pennsylvania. Right. You know that's not the question that I was asking.
Yeah.
So, when I say, where does your face come from? It's not an insult. It's, genetically speaking, that face didn't originate from this part of the world. Where did it come from? Like, boom, let's go. Yeah. So, you know, I'm trying to kind of live in this world of everybody's cool, everybody's coming, don't be offensive, but be funny in truth. And all of those things are conflicting. But I also see these young comedians, and I don't know if we are doing them a disservice, or is comedy just gonna change, and we're just a part of the old guard?
My opinion is I think there's room for everybody.
So listen, guys, this is definitely gonna be a two-parter. I can feel it already. So we're gonna stop at this point, because this thing's going to be 2 hours long. I know it already. So this is the first hour for the part 2 of the state of comedy, according to Carlos and Gabe. Come back next week, man. But this will be the end of 1. And see you for part 2.